Alright everyone, welcome to Fate Stay Night Remastered. Now, I know this intro should have probably came in the first video, but as you guys know, with this kind of game, you gotta go through the prologue first before you get to the main title sequence at long last. So here we are. I want to thank you all for joining me on this one, considering not that long ago I beat the fan translated version of Fate Stay alongside with Fate Hollow Ataraxia. The thing was though, when I completed Hollow Ataraxia, it was along the same week that Remastered was being released, so I decided to release a poll asking you guys if you wanted me to replay this game, but this time the official localized version, to which a majority of you all wanted me to do so. So here we are today, guys, and I want to thank you all for supporting me, and if anything, guys, we got a long journey ahead of us with this one, so if anything else, thank you all for the love and support. Hope you all enjoy this, because I'm going to have another fun ride coming, so let's do this. I am the bone of my sword. Steel is my body, and fire is my blood. I have created over 1,000 blades, unknown to death, nor known to life. Have withstood pain to create many weapons, yet those hands will never hold anything. So as I pray, unlimited blade works. When I came to, I was lying in a burning field. It must have been a big fire. The familiar town was an unrecognizable smoking ruin. It looked like a scene from a war movie. The sight didn't last long though. As morning dawned, the fires gradually died down. The towering walls of flame shrunk to embers, and most of the buildings looked to have collapsed. It felt so strange being the only unchanged thing in the town. I was the only one left alive. I was either fortunate, or the house I'd been inside was built on the luckiest ground of all time. Either way, I was the only one alive. Since I'd survived, I felt I needed to keep on living. I walked aimlessly, thinking it would be dangerous to remain where I was. It wasn't that I wanted to avoid becoming what had happened to everyone around me. Those scorched, blackened masses. It wasn't a feeling of disgust. Some other emotion was driving me on. At the same time, I had no hope. It was a miracle I was alive at all, and I didn't think I was going to last much longer. There was just no way in hell I was going to survive. There was simply no way I could ever escape the Crimson Hellscape, no matter what I did. That was how desperate, how hellish this place was, even through the eyes of a young boy. And then I collapsed. Either there was no air around me, or I simply couldn't breathe anymore. I just collapsed, and all I could do was to look up at the slowly clouding sky. The scorched black masses around me lay motionless. The dark clouds covered the sky, promising rain. Good. The rain will put out the fires. I took one final deep breath and looked up at the rain clouds. I couldn't breathe, but I still felt pain. I said that out loud on behalf of all those people who couldn't say those words themselves. That was 10 years ago. Miraculously, in the midst of all that, I was saved. My physical body survived, but everything else was scorched, reduced to ash. When a young child loses their parents or their home, there's really nothing left of them. And so, everything other than my body perished. Put as simply as possible, in exchange for my body living, my heart died. I'm dreaming. I squinted, seeing a bright white light. It was blinding. Light stabbed at my eyes when I woke, I doubt I really knew what the sensation of blinding light was in the first place. As my eyes adjusted, I woke alarmed. I was lying in a bed I didn't recognize, in a room that I didn't recognize. I was honestly stunned, but the cleanliness of the white room made me feel at ease.
どこだろうここ
I looked blankly at my surroundings. The room was spacious, and beds lined in neat rows. All the beds were full, and it looked like each bed's occupant was injured. But the room didn't feel depressing at all. Everyone injured survived. I let my eyes wander. I looked out the window. The clear blue sky was so incredibly beautiful. A few days passed, and I was finally able to take in the situation. I had no problem remembering what happened the days before, but I wasn't much different from a newborn during this time. Strange as it is, that was closer to the truth than might seem possible. The fire was just that bad. I was rescued from the fire. I awoke in a hospital. My parents were gone, and my entire body was wrapped in bandages. I didn't really understand what was going on, but I did know that I was alone. It didn't take long for me to accept my circumstances. Maybe I had no choice, really. All the other children were in the same boat. And then later, in the moment I, naive as I was, started to worry about what would become of me, he walked in. He appeared the day my bandages came off and I started eating on my own. His hair was disheveled, his suit tattered. He looked a bit younger than my doctor. He looked more like someone's older brother than someone's father.
こんにちは。君がシロー君だね。
Can we increase your? Because you don't. Let me see. I don't know. Do you have? Do you have? Yes, you do have. Kiritsugu. Alright. His beaming smile seemed to blend into the pouring white sunlight. His voice was somehow irritatingly fake, yet extremely gentle.
率直に聞くけど、孤児院に預けられるのと、初めて会ったおじさんに引き取られるの、君はどっちがいいかな?
He was offering to take me in. I asked if we were related. He said we were complete strangers. He looked like an unremarkable, unreliable guy. But then again, he was no more or less familiar than the orphanage. So I decided I'd go with him.
そうか。よかった。なら早く身支度を済ませよう。新しい家に一日でも早く慣れなくっちゃいけないからね。
He started gathering my things hastily. Even as young as I was, I could see he wasn't any good at it. And after he made a mess packing.
おっと、大切なことを言い忘れた。うちに来る前に一つだけ教えなくちゃいけないことがある。
He turned, asking for confirmation. He asked so casually, as if asking me if there was somewhere I wanted to go.
はじめに言っておくとね、僕は魔法使いなんだ。
A magician, huh? He said it in a serious, almost ceremonious manner. It happened so fast. Now that I think back, I was also immature. I just accepted his words as fact. I took it neither as a joke or genuine statement.
うわ、じいさんすごいな。
Well, I mean, he's a kid. Of course he's gonna believe that. I guess I said something like that, eyes wide in astonishment. And I was his child. Actually, I don't really remember how that conversation went. But every now and then, my old man would bring it up. He would recount that scene over and over, acting all embarrassed. That scene might have been the happiest day of my old man, a man named Shirou Emiya's life. You can say that. It was the one thing for him to tell a recently orphaned kid he was a magician. But I was no better, the way I so eagerly bought into it. And that was how my old man adopted me, and how I took the last name Emiya. Shirou Emiya. When I said that name out loud, I felt really proud of having the same last name as Kiritsugu. You should. That's a good name. I'm dreaming. It's from my childhood. It's probably about 8 years ago, since it's about the time when I talked my old man into making me his apprentice. Kiritsugu had started going away on a regular basis once I was old enough to stay home by myself. He'd always give some childish, unbelievable explanation like, I'm going to go on an adventure around the world. Then he'd actually do it. From then on, that's how it always was. It wasn't unusual for him to be gone for a month, and at times he didn't come home for half a year. The Emiya Mansion is an expansive Japanese samurai-style house, and Kiritsugu and I were the only ones living there. It felt too big and empty for a child like me, and at times, I felt lost. But I liked my life there. Whenever Kiritsugu came home from his trips, he would brag and tell stories like an excited child. And another child, one who shared his last name, always looked forward to those stories. I may have been alone in the mansion, but Kiritsugu's stories always helped lessen that. He was always pursuing a dream like a boy. I was wary of his whims, yet at the same time, he always looked radiant to me. Maybe that's why I hope to be like him one day. Well, as childish as I might have been, I realized I needed to get my act together, since I had an old man with his head constantly in the clouds. January 31st. Fate's Day. Let's go. I hear a sound. The heavy rusted hinges on the door creak as it's being pushed open. Light pours in through the crack in the door. My mind tries to shake off the slumber.
先輩、起きてますか?
I know that voice. I hear footsteps drawing near, and I feel the winter air flowing in.
Hi. おはようございます、先輩。先輩、朝ですよ。まだ時間はありますけど、ここで眠っていたら藤村先生に怒られます。
そうだな。よく起こしに来てくれた。いつもすまない。
そんなことありません。先輩、いつも朝は早いですから。こんな風に起こしに来れるなんてたまにしかありません。
I'm not sure why, but Sakura looks more cheerful than usual.
そうかな。結構さくらには起こされてるぞ、俺。けど藤姉には叩き起こされるからさくらの方が助かる。これに懲りずに次は頑張る。
I answer, still half asleep. My head's still not right, so even if I don't know what I'm saying.
はい、わかりました。でも頑張ってもらわない方が嬉しいです、私。
Sakura is giggling. Crap. I must still be so sleepy I've said something weird.
ちょっと待ってくれ。すぐ起きるから。
The cold winter air helps at times like this. The chill snaps my lethargic mind awake. And in front of me stands my junior at school, Sakura Mato. I'm in my house storehouse, and it's just about 6 o'clock in the morning.
先輩、
目が覚めた。ごめんな、さくら。またやっちまった。
I wonder what it is about not Fate Stay, type Moon main characters and them waking up so early. It's always like either 5 a.m., 6 a.m. It's not just always school either. They always have like a pattern of always waking up early for some reason.
朝の支度手伝わないといけないのに。
そんなのいいんです。先輩、夕べも遅かったんでしょ。なら朝はゆっくりしてください。朝食の支度は私がしておきますから。
Very kind of you, Sakura. Thank you. Sakura is practically bouncing with excitement. That's odd. Sakura is really energetic this morning.
バカ、そういうわけにいくか。今起きるから一緒にキッチンに行こう。よし、準備完了。それじゃあ行こう、さくら。
あ、いえ、その先輩。
なんだよ、他に何かあるのか。
いえ、そういうことではないんですけど、その先輩、家に戻る前に着替えた方がいいと思います。
I finally look at myself. I fell asleep working last night, so I'm still wearing my coveralls. The coveralls I wear while I'm working are usually dirty. Who knows what Fujine would say or do if I went to the house as is.
まだ目が覚めてないみたいだ。なんか普段に増して抜けてるな、俺。
そうかもしれませんね。ですから朝食の支度は私に任せて、先輩はもう少しゆっくりしていてください。それにほら、ここを散らかしっぱなしにしていたら藤村先生に怒られるでしょ。
そうだな。それじゃあ着替えてから行くから、さくらは先に戻っていてくれ。
はい、お待ちしてますね、先輩。
Sakura quickly walks out. Okay then. I'll change into my school uniform first. Then I need to collect all parts I left scattered around. The storehouse is in the corner of the backyard, and all sorts of junk is crammed in here. Though I've always liked to tinker with gadgets, so the place is a treasure trove to me. The old man forbade me to go into the storehouse, but I ignored his warnings and snuck inside almost every day. Now it's sort of a base for me. I guess you could call this place my real room. The massive Emiya house never felt homey to me, but I've always felt at ease in here, surrounded by all of this junk.
そもそももったいないじゃないか。ガラクタって言ってもまだ使えるし。
A majority of the things in the storehouse are everyday things, mostly unusable. I'm not sure whether I brought it all in because I liked it in here, or whether I liked this place because it was full of junk. Either way, I snuck into the storehouse almost daily, and I made a sort of a hobby of fixing broken things. I'm not the type who gets attached to things, but it just didn't feel right to neglect things that are still usable. Or maybe, it would be better to say the idea of doing that just bothered me. Which is why I stayed up all night trying to fix a broken stove.
完成は明日か。途中で寝るなんて集中力が足りない証拠だ。
I try to shake off my self-disgust at that. I gathered the parts for the stove and put them back on the shelf of things waiting to get fixed. There's no more room though. Once I fix the stove, an old VCR is up next. Both of which were destroyed by Fujine. We can set that aside for now. I changed into my school uniform. Since the storehouse is like my own room, I have all the essentials, including changes of clothes in here. The rest are things like haphazardly drawn blueprints scattered all over the place and literal junk from my failed attempts at fixing various things. Also, there's some sort of pattern carved into the storehouse floor, perhaps used as some sort of an altar in the past.
さて、今日も一日頑張って精進しよう。
I clapped my hands in prayer at the storehouse and turned towards the mansion. I walked from the storehouse to the mansion. This Emiya residence is a Japanese samurai-style house located on the outskirts of town. My old man wasn't from a notable family, yet for some reason he owned this giant house. That in itself was a mystery, and it also seems he didn't have any relatives here in Japan. And so when my old man died, there was no one else to inherit this mansion, so it came to me as his adopted son. Though to be honest, I don't have any administrative abilities, so things like inheritance, property taxes, and any other complicated things are all handled by Old Man Fujimura. Old Man Fujimura is a major businessman who lives nearby. Kiritsugu described Old Man Fujimura as an old man who's like a Yakuza boss. Obviously, that was his own biased view. In fact, Old Man Fujimura is not like a Yakuza boss. He is a Yakuza boss. That may be a problem in and of itself, but I try not to dwell on it. Anyway, that's why I live in this giant mansion on my own. It's been 5 years since my old man died. Time sure does fly. I sighed thinking about how much I've grown in those 5 years. I trained every day to become like Kiritsugu, but that's easier said than done. It's not surprising since I didn't have what it takes from the start, but the fact that I haven't improved at all these past 5 years forces me to reassess things. If I had to sum up my current situation, I'd say I set the bar too high. I haven't even reached the starting line. No, rushing won't do me any good. For now, I just have to do what I can. Okay then. What I need to do now is... Oh, okay. Let's save now. In the new file. Okay. I'm gonna help Sakura. Right, I need to help Sakura. Making someone younger than me do all the work would be embarrassing, and I feel bad for Sakura coming here so early in the morning. But I'm too late. Breakfast looks to be done already. The appetizing scent of the breakfast Sakura cooked wafts towards me from the kitchen. Sakura finished cooking, and she's searching through the cupboards for dishes.
めんぼくない。せめて食器の用意ぐらいはやるから、さくらは座っててくれ。
もう来ちゃったんですか、先輩。
もうじゃないぞ。6時10分って言ったら朝飯を食ってる時間じゃないか。完全に寝坊だよ。
そんなことはないと思いますよ。先輩は部活をしていないんですから、この時間は十分に早起きです。
部活は関係ない。それを言ったら朝練があるさくらがうちに来てくれるのも問題じゃないか。
いえ、私は好きでしていることですから、部活のことは気にしないでください。
ああ、それは何度も聞いた。だから俺も部活に関係なく早起きしてるんだ。さくらが来てくれるならその時間には起きてないと失礼だろ。
To me, waking up early is waking up before Sakura gets here, and oversleeping means I make Sakura prepare breakfast on her own, like today. Though this arrangement started only about a year and a half ago.
ともかくさくらは休んでろよ。あとは並べるだけなんだから、それぐらい俺にやらせてくれ。
I stand next to Sakura and pull out the dishes. Sakura has surprisingly stubborn side, so she won't rest unless I really push.
なら私もお手伝いします。お皿には私が盛りますから、先輩はお茶碗を出してください。
いや、だから全部こっちでやるからいいってば。
いけません。先輩はお家の主人なんですから、朝くらいはドーンと構えていてください。
ドーンと構えろって。さくら一人に働かせてのんびりしている主人なんて家主失格だぞ。いいからさくらは今に言ってろって。
はい、ぜひ失格してください。これいつも美味しいご飯を食べさせてもらっているお返しなんです。だからできれば先輩にはゆっくりしていてほしいです。
食費だったら折半なんだからさくらが気にすることじゃない。感謝なんて言ったら俺がしたいぐらいだ。さくらが来てくれるようになってから 飯が豪勢になったからな。
やっぱり先輩分かってなかったんですね。先輩のお家のご飯が美味しいのはそういうことじゃないんです。
そういうことじゃないってどういうことだ？
いえ、何でもありません。けど責任取ってくださいね。私先輩の家じゃないとご飯を美味しくいただけなくなっちゃったんですから。
バカ、おかしなこと言うな。藤姉に聞かれたらどうするんだ。あの人には冗談なんて通じないんだから。
そうですね、藤村先生に聞かれたら大変です。
まったくだ、あんまりおかしなこと言うな。
はい、言いません。言いませんからお手伝いしていいですよね、先輩。
Sakura looks me in the eye so naturally and calmly.
いいよ、好きにしろ。そんなにやりたきゃさくらに任せる。
はい、好きにします、私。
まったく、本当に最近言うこと聞かなくなったよな、さくら。
ですね、藤村先生に似てきたのかもしれません。
She responds softly as she reaches towards the cupboard. Her dark hair gently falls over her shoulder, and the curves of her body catch my eye. I can't explain it, but it's awkward. I'm not sure if it's our age, but Sakura's been looking more feminine lately. Her casual movements or her profile are so pretty, and I inadvertently avert my eyes.
先輩、どうかしましたか？
いや、どうもしてない。どうもしてないから気にしないでくれ。
Honestly, it's baffling. Why the hell am I getting nervous around my friend's younger sister? Sakura's just a really good and considerate younger friend of mine, and she's someone I need to look after. She's the younger sister friend of mine. We used to be friendly, though initially we weren't very close since she's a grade below me. It was only a year and a half ago that our relationship became more what it is now. Sakura started to come and cook meals for me when I got hurt, and things kinda stayed like that. I think this arrangement was supposed to last until I got better, but I guess something or other happened, and somehow, she ended up helping out with household chores. Either way, Sakura's a good cook, and her cleaning and laundry skills are perfect. Having her come early in the morning is a big help, but it's been disconcerting recently. Sakura isn't the problem, it's me. I'm sure being flustered by my friend's sister is part of the reason I feel guilty. Usually, I'm unfazed, but when I blush because I get caught off guard like now, I wonder whether that's problematic as her senpai. Breakfast is lined up neatly on the table. A perfectly balanced meal of chicken with parsley salad, grilled salmon, blanched spinach, miso soup with radish and carrots, and grated yam soup.
いただきます。
Sakura and I sit down and bow, and begin our meal in silence. The gentle tapping of chopsticks is the only sound in the room. Sakura isn't typically talkative, and I hardly have anything to chat about during meals. So we eat in silence. Normally it's much rowdier than this, but the person who usually causes the commotion. Haha. Must have watched a spy movie or something last night because she's eyeing the two of us through the newspaper she popped up in front of her food.
藤村先生、ご飯時に新聞は見ない方がいいと思いますよ。
Sakura remarks diffidently, but Fujine ignores her. Fujine is acting weird, but her being weird at breakfast isn't really all that weird for her. Sakura's used to it too, and she's eating as if nothing's the matter. Sakura typically cooks up Western dishes. She really only began learning to cook Japanese dishes since she started coming here to help me out. Sakura learned to cook simple Japanese dishes at least for breakfast because Fujine and I prefer them. Now, Sakura's cooking skills have improved to the point she's better than me, and I'm the one who's teaching her. Her miso soup is flavorful and refined now, and she's even gotten to the point where she can grate yams to make yam soup. Actually, I think today's the first time she served yam soup.
悪い、さくら、醤油取って。
大変です先輩。先輩のお醤油は昨日で切れてます。
じゃあ藤姉のでいいや、取って。
藤村先生、いいですか？
Fujine nods. The newspaper shuffles.
はいどうぞ。とろろ汁に使うんですか？
まあ、とろろには醤油だろう、普通。
A line of soy sauce streams from the bottle onto the grated white mount.